Well, hello again. I'm back at it. And you know, with one idea, you always try to improve on. And in some cases, you just elaborate that idea and come up with slightly different ones or modifications from that. And you create something. Now, what I'm doing today is going to be derived from the Eucalyptus water lily that I've just uploaded. And basically, that was a four leaf or 4 petals on the flower. And I was trying to figure out, even though I did that one and I didn't give it much thought, I drew it up and that's where I went. But after making it, I kept thinking, how would I go about making a 5 petal? So I came up with something that would give me 5 petals, and believe it or not, it's a design that I already have seen and I didn't realize it, but Deepa, an amazing wood turner, an amazing artist. He draws and he paints a lot of his pieces, and he paints flowers inside. His bowl, Flower of Life, is basically this is derived from it, basically. Without all the additional circles and the little rings inside. But the pattern is, I believe, started the same way that he does. So if I drew a whole bunch of circles like that connecting with each other, they would have those little laps, like I said, I think. You know, so he paints a lot of flowers, and with that, it kind of inspired me. I mean, you know, it's true. The creating that oriental lidded box was number one, and then with that idea and combining the mastery that Deepa possesses, I rotated it around. Rather than paint the flower, I turned the flower. So that was my approach on this. The last 2 turnings basically have somewhat derived from the same idea. I just decided I didn't want that four winged. I wanted to see if I could do a 5 or 6 wing, and here it is. I'm ready to start drawing up the flower. Let me bring you in there. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is pretty much grab the center, and I don't know, you know, the size that I need to create on this, but I'm going to take a guess as this being my size right now. I can already see that's too big, and I'm not centered. I don't have anything that tells me exactly what size this should be, but I'm going to check this in a second and see if that's going to work for me. So basically you draw a circle, and you can take any point of this, any point. And not to make it too confusing, don't draw it up going all the way back to the center. We know that it hits the center, but keep it that way. Go grab that intersection right there. Now you have to hit with the intersections. Actually, I can go bigger because, let me see. Yes, I can go bigger. Even though the circle will be outside of the wood, it's not a part of the wood that's actually going to be used. So this is the biggest. Okay, again, it can be on the outside as long as you got the area that's going to intersect and they will meet. So that's the biggest one. I believe I was on this circle. I'm using a pen because the pen fits on this compass pretty well. I should be using a pencil here, but okay, so you always come to the intersecting point on that and you just draw a circle until they meet. Back to this one. And see, it came right up to that last corner that I had. And this one, I messed it up a little bit there, but oh no, I didn't. I was going to the wrong line. So okay, so I know it looks a little bit confusing, but really it's not all that confusing. What I want is this shape right here. So here's my flower shape. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's actually 6 petals. I was thinking it was 5, but it's 6 petals. So I'm going to take this to the bandsaw, and you can see that I could have still gone a little bit larger, but I feel that's not too bad. I mean, tip to tip, it gives me 7.5 inches. Pretty close to that. So I'm gonna cut this up in the bandsaw. So that's where this is going, and there will be a secondary part like this, exactly like this, just maybe a little bit smaller, and it will sit on the top of this, and it will give me a good amount of room to make a box inside of this. The eye will be smaller, the very tip, and will be hollowed out accordingly to match the design. Bring it back to the bandsaw. I came back with a compass in these intersecting points, and I just drew it up to the center. It doesn't matter which ones you go to, as long as they're at the intersecting points. And that's how I established the center on this. And I got my lathe still set up at 2000 RPMs, more or less. This is pretty well balanced. Now to make my mortise, I generally don't use this. Generally I eye it. And I really don't have much of a problem with it, but I'm going to use it today. My tool rest is grabbing a little bit. My tools are kind of hopping over it. But that looks good. It's got an OG and a slight curl over at the end of the paddle going back down. It's wilting slightly. Then later on I will finish this off. Now I'm going to do that now too. I'm going to make a slight concave on that, and if I have to do anything at the end, will be just basically to feather that off from the get rid of the tool marks. Don't want is weaken up that point. And I'm ready to sand that. I'm going to keep this a little bit thinner than the whole piece. I don't want this to stand out too proud. But it's got a nice profile, a nice curve. So I think I like the way it is right now. it's been about a minute. Got a clean piece of paper towel. Hasn't been used for anything else. Gonna buff it up. Now this is ready to be flipped over. Grab it by the tenon, and I'm going to maintain the tips very thin, but building up a little bit heavy towards the bottom. I want the petal to be not too fragile in the middle over here. Not that it would break, just to give it an appearance of it having some mass down at the bottom and being very delicate at the tips. I'm going to go in here and start working from the outside going in. I want to establish the thickness on my petals, and then I'll see exactly what I want to do with the center of the flower. I might pull out, but I will concentrate on this outside area here. Always look, stop and look, see where you are, and you can see that I got too much of a curve outwards. I want a little bit, but it's too much. I'm thicker here than I am here, and I'm about the same thickness all the way up to here. So I have to take this lump right over here and still pull outwards a little bit. I want to take off a little bit from the middle. I got just a little bit of a bow, not much at all. And I want to make sure that this is perfectly flat. My cuts don't look too bad. I like the thickness towards the base. So basically I'm going to just do that and sand it up. Now the next one up doesn't have to be, actually I'm going to be taking this down some because I want the next one to sit fairly close to this one. I don't want it to stick out here. I want the whole flower maybe to be this height plus half. So the next piece only has to be about an inch thick at the very at the very best. And so when I mount here and the flower petals come upwards, I'll probably do them a little bit more flared up. I'll definitely not do this OG going down. I don't want that part to be wilting. I want that part to be alert and blooming and calling attention to the center. So, you know, I'll maybe even curl it inwards this way rather than this way. I'll bring the attention. As a matter of fact, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to curl it in this way and call the attention towards the center. If I can maintain the flower shape, that is, because the more I curve something like this, the more of these shapes that I would be losing. So, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to have to play with that idea and see if that's going to work for me. Let that dry up for about 3 minutes and wet sand it. Okay, I'm ready to turn this down about 3/8 of an inch. That's all it's going to take, and that will bring me just below the petals. Right now I'm a little bit above the petals. I want it to be below the petals. Now also I might want to hollow this out a little bit to help me on the end, because I'll have another flower out here and it will come up somewhat, and I'm not going to be able to get my tool on the correct angle when I go that deep. So I will hollow that out, and I want to bring it from outside a little bit. I want the box to be a little bit as big as I can and not just go straight in and keeping all this mass. Now I could do this slightly different from the initial thought, and that would be to make the second part of the flower be the lid. So it would show up a full flower and you'd grab it. Of course it would have a lump in the middle for the center of the flower, but you would grab the whole lid and it would reveal this part right here. So to do that, I would need to make a small recess in this area here, and that would be a pretty interesting design as well. Probably a little bit better than the flower and then the center of the flower opening up. And I have to make that decision as to which way I'm going to go about at this point, because one needs a recess, the other one needs as much of a flat surface as I can get, which is what I got here, to mount the next one up and then hollow it up inside. And you know, the opening on the top would be
about half of the width of this, about half. So that would have to be concaved, and you know, you can reach inside and grab a little thing or pull it up against the side walls, and that's really not the best scenario. Yet if it was a full flower and you opened it up, split it in half, it's, you know, everything is right here. You have full access to whatever little items you put inside, you know, as a keepsake. You know, and I think I like that idea of opening it up, and I will still make a design pattern on the upper flower. So I'm going to make a recess on this and finish this up as well. Well, I've waxed it. Looks pretty good. Gonna take this off from the chuck, and the next series of steps are basically a repeat of this. So I'm going to try not to do much talking where I don't keep slowing down. I'll probably fast forward, time lapse the whole second part of this all the way through rather than interruptions. I'm sure you guys are tired of listening to me yakking away. But anyway, that's the plan. If I come up with something, if I think I said something that's really important, then I will slow it down in that area and explain what I'm doing. But that should be pretty much straightforward. So I have to square up the base of that. I'm going to take my small spindle gouge in there and kind of just square off that inside. I'll make it where it's going to accept something.
Well, I gotta tell you, it feels great when you come up with an idea and it works. Everything pulls together and just, it's a great feeling. And here it is. Another flower lidded box. Comes up the bottom, beautiful finish, wood grain, the inside, bottom, and there's no real marks that I have to work the foot area, and it just worked out beautifully. The center, put a little bit of Sharpies, colored Sharpies, yellow first, then red, and I blended the yellow again back onto the red to give it a nice feathered look, coming from the center of a bright red into a yellow. And of course it's offset, but that works beautifully because things in nature don't have to be precise. So I got the opening. I could have, you could keep on going with ideas, and I could put epoxy, I could put colored in the epoxy in there, and I was thinking that I would split them up into, but I'm not going to press the issue a little bit. That would be a little redundant, a little overdone, over the top. So I think that this is a nice piece on its own. Well, thank you again. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging in there.